Live look at Capitol Hill, the Supreme Court beginning a new term today. Their docket of cases includes topics of gun rights, transgender health care, and even pornography. And already today, the court has announced one decision allowing the Texas law to stand that bars emergency abortions that violate Texas law. The justices did not detail the reasoning on this, but allowed a lower court order to remain in place, which says hospitals cannot be forced to provide emergency abortions if those violate state law. The White House wants that law thrown out. And the court also will hear arguments about Texas law banning access to online porn sites unless a user submits identification, like a driver's license, to ensure they're older than 18. Other states, like North Carolina, have enacted similar laws, and the court also is prepared to take up potential election-related cases after Election Day, should the need arise. Let's go ahead and bring in Chief Legal Analyst Kali Froach with a lot going on here with the Supreme Court that's going to happen before Election Day and then likely after.
A lot going on is an understatement. The Supreme Court gets a lot of requests to grant cert, and normally they reject, the overwhelming majority of them. They've allowed this term 43 to be added. That's the most in 4+ years. And so you hit on two that I was already looking at, but there's 4 other ones that I want to talk about that I think are, at least worth watching. And I'll look at them from my thought process, least in terms of most. So let's start in first, forum shopping. That's when you're looking for cases to get in front of the specific judge that you want. So you may file a case in state court, remove it to federal court, hoping that you get an opportunity to go in front of a judge that you want. They're trying to get an opportunity to say, look, we don't want this to happen. We're wanting the Supreme Court to make a determination on if that should happen and how it should happen. The next one is controlling pollution. The EPA has done a number of rulings in this rulemaking process. You've heard both sides of the aisle talk about the rulemaking process. These cases that have come up in front of them, the city of San Francisco is asking that, look, you guys roll back your process to how it was pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, and that process is not going the way they want. They want Supreme Court to address that. The next one's ghost guns. I mean, these ghost guns, these are guns that are printed at home.
Talked about that a lot here
put
in Charlotte.
together, and so law enforcement officers are frustrated by what happens with these type of guns. They want the Supreme Court to determine one thing: this is a firearm. If it's a firearm, allow it to be governed. If it's not a firearm, let's figure out how we can do this. But the most recent one, and the one that I think will have all the eyes of the country watching, transgender rights. I mean, that's the one that the Biden administration has been pumping. That's the one that will be really addressed on Election Day. Both sides have been pushing and jockeying for position, probably the most anticipated one. So I got a lot to look at, but that one by far is the one I'm checking out.
And certainly that will have some impact for those people that do go to the polls on November 5th. But let's look after the election at what could possibly be the cases that come up for the Supreme Court.
I mean, most of those cases, right, all of them will have an impact with the Supreme Court. I don't think any of them will have their decision making, I should say, will have an impact before we get to Election Day. But after that, I mean, regardless of who wins, it will show, well, either there was some type of support on the bench for the candidate of choice, or it will show that there wasn't much support for that candidate of choice. But this transgender right, I mean, that's cut right down the middle. There's no going back and forth on party lines. So how they rule on that one specifically will, I mean, it obviously won't come out before Election Day, but how they rule specifically in that case will lay out for the next 4 years what happens politically.
All right, we'll be watching. All right, Chief Legal Analyst Kali Froach, thanks.